Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Dave sent me a note about a story out of People magazine, and the headline is one that I looked at and said, what? Death of skier killed in a collision with another skier is ruled a homicide. A homicide. So Esme Mazzeo wrote this, and the man collided with an unidentified 34-year-old who was coming downhill while skiing at the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort in Wyoming on Sunday, April 14th. So the man died after being hit by a 34-year-old. The death of the Wyoming-based ski instructor who was killed after a collision with another skier has been ruled a homicide. In case you're curious, many places a medical examiner, in the old days as a coroner, is given the job of assigning a description to a death. So you can die from natural causes. Medically attended deaths in hospitals are routinely signed off on by doctors, but a medical examiner is often called in when somebody dies in a non-medically attended fashion, i.e. not in a hospital or not with a doctor at their side. And so car accidents can be listed as accidental. And of course, homicide indicates that they're saying that the person who caused this to happen had the equivalent of some form of criminal intent. Now, it may not be that the person was intending to kill somebody, but if you act recklessly in such a way that it can cause the death of another, that can be form of manslaughter, which falls in that category. So the county coroner confirmed to People that the man's death, which happened 3 days after he was hit at the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, has been ruled a homicide. Per a post on Facebook made by the sheriff's office on Monday, a couple weeks ago, the collision occurred at approximately 10 a.m. on the Rendezvous Trail. Now, the man who died was a 71-year-old part-time ski instructor. He was skiing with a group of peers when the unidentified skier collided with him from uphill, per the skiing industry site Snowbrains. He wasn't teaching at the time of the incident. And there are all kinds of rules about the right of way. And when you're coming down the hill and there's somebody in front of you, I believe it is your job to go around to the person in front of you. You can't run them over and go, well, you should have gotten out of my way. So the resort told the outlet that the man was wearing a helmet when he got hit, but the unidentified skier was not. Now, Ski Magazine obtained ski patrol reports stating that the unidentified skier, who also lives in the Jackson Hole area, failed to maneuver around the victim before the accident occurred. So they're saying that he could have, but he didn't. Both men are taken to a local urgent care clinic. The unidentified skier was released to recover at home, while the man who passed away was eventually transferred to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center, where he was immediately put on life support. The Billings Gazette reported his family saying that the man had severe brain damage that is irreversible. Another news outlet said he never regained consciousness after the collision. The coroner confirmed to People that the death was ruled a homicide, and his cause of death is an intracranial hemorrhage, I presume caused by a collision or an impact, which was the result of this skier hitting him. He joined this place as a ski instructor back in 1978 and was a seasonal employee, so apparently he knew his way around there quite well. All of us are devastated to have lost a beloved member of our community and a long-tenured instructor in our mountain sports school, said the president of the place in a statement to Buck Rail. Our thoughts are with the family, friends, our employees, and community members who are grieving this loss. Now, the risk and safety director of the site said these incidents unfortunately continue to be an occurrence for skiers. It is your duty as an uphill skier to avoid those below you. So we're not talking about skiing uphill. We're talking about your position on the slopes. So assuming that a slope starts up here and ends down here, and you ski from here to here, as you're coming down, it is your job to watch out for the people below you. Behind you, it's their job to watch out for people below them, which would include you, okay? So we ask that everyone ski in a safe and respectful manner. Per Ski Magazine, it's very rare for a death after a ski collision to be ruled a homicide. The sheriff's office says an investigation of the collision is ongoing per multiple reports. So the interesting thing I got to tell you is I wrote the book called Death's Door about the Italian Hall disaster. And the death certificates from that event, I've got all 73 of them. And on it, the medical examiner, the coroner back then, his job was to, among other things, list the cause of death, which he didn't do for some strange reason, which we know why he didn't do it. But it says you should list it as accidental, homicidal, or suicidal if it's non-medically attended. And so I'm guessing here the medical examiner could have called this accidental. Could have called it accidental. So not calling it accidental most likely means that it appears to those who know that it was avoidable and that it wasn't avoided by the person who was in the position to make it not happen. And so they ruled it that way. Now, I can tell you that does not mean necessarily that anybody's going to be indicted or tried or anything of that nature, because they might look at this and go, well, we believe it is a homicide because it was one person who killed another person, and the person that's being ruled here to be at fault had the mental state that was inappropriate. And the mental state here could just be acting recklessly with disregard of human life, okay? And that would do it. That would do it to get you up to some form of manslaughter. But a prosecutor who would have to make the decision about whether or not we're going to charge this, or it could be a grand jury. You could take it to a grand jury. But the point is that somebody has got to make that decision about whether we're going to go ahead and pursue charges and press charges. And it's always going to boil down to, what can you prove? And could you get a jury to convict? And would a jury in a community that understands skiing, would they look at this and go, yes, we think that is homicide. We think that's a crime, the way this person was skiing that caused the death of another person on the ski slopes. And so there's no way of knowing whether they're going to go ahead and pursue that. There's no way of knowing. But the fact that the medical examiner or the coroner called it that is not the decisive thing on this. So I've seen it before where a medical examiner has ruled something not a homicide, and they've gone ahead and prosecuted anyway. And now, obviously, the defense can bring in the medical examiner and say, isn't it true that you ruled this was an accident? Or isn't it true that you ruled, this was not a homicide? Whatever else it might have been on the form they can fill out, other choices they might have. And they can say, well, when I was examining the person's body, the remains, that's the conclusion I drew. Now, I will tell you, I've even spoken at a medical examiner's conference and literally talked to a group of over 100 of them and spoke to a whole bunch of them afterwards about the Italian Hall disaster in particular, but also about some other famous cases that I was aware of. And I asked them about a case I knew of where someone I'd met several times passed away in very, very unusual circumstances. And I was talking to these medical examiners, and one of them mentioned what county they work in. And that's where the person I knew passed away. And I said, excuse me, do you remember the case of, and I said the guy's name. She goes, yes. And she told me how he passed away. I said, I'm curious about that because I saw that you guys ruled that accidental. And now I heard versions of what happened from families of, family members, but they weren't there. The ones I talked to were not there. And I've never spoken to anybody who was there. So I'm curious to know how you make that ruling. And she goes, we did. We spoke to people who were there. She goes, we interviewed people who were there with him, also people who were there who saw what happened. And she said partly what played into his passing away was some events preceding that. And I'm not going to get too heavily into it, but she goes, he was very, very tired. He hadn't gotten a lot of sleep the night before. And so they'd interviewed people that went back and were not there when he passed away, but were with him the night before. And so the medical examiner doesn't just look at the body and examine the body. The medical examiner can interview people and read police reports and try to figure out what all played into this. It's not just the remains on the table that they're looking into. So here, the medical examiner very well could have interviewed people who were there, read the reports and so on, and drawn the conclusion that, okay, this does not happen by mere happenstance or accident. This is, in fact, homicide because somebody acted with some kind of intent that was inappropriate. And that very well could just be a reckless disregard for the lives of others. So doing something crazy can lead to a charge of homicide. So I'm not saying the person here is acting in a crazy fashion, coming on the slopes on skiing, but it very well could be that you have to ski with due care. And if you don't, you might be liable for it. So fascinating case. Dave, thanks for sending. People Magazine published that. Death of skier killed in collision with another skier is ruled a homicide. And Esme Mazzeo wrote that. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list.